Welcome in, Frasiacs. It's Wednesday, and season 7 of Welcome to Plathville carries on with episode 5 last night, The Secret, and therefore I'm doing a recap. I'm doing a recap every single week of Welcome to Plathville because it don't get her any better than this show. I say it every single week. And by the way, total spoiler alerts because last night the show was titled The Secret, but of course the big reveal was that Veronica, Micah's now ex-girlfriend, revealed that she had been speaking to Olivia Plath, the nemesis of the Plath family, for months. What a betrayal. What a betrayal. And let me just say the reactions online about Veronica are very, very mixed now. I believe they went from extremely supportive and positive and believing Veronica at how toxic this family is. And I think people still recognize that. But boy, have things changed. We'll get into that. Why, how, is this a lot? Like, did production like deliberately kind of re-edit or edit her to look so, she doesn't look good. Our girl doesn't look good, but we'll get into all that. So anyhow, episode 5 was last night. I'm obsessed with the show. I think it's the best thing on TV. Like I said, every single week I'd say it took 7 seasons, but this show, I literally look down, I blink, and 40 minutes has gone by. It is so riveting. There's not a dull moment. And, everybody in the Plath family now has an interesting storyline going on. They do. Kim and Barry are getting divorced, hate each other. By the way, last night, Barry decided to go to a hotel bar with Mariah and her friend Sydney and play like Chubby Bunny, like they were 15 years old, putting marshmallows in their mouth. Did the dude not want to get with Sydney? Excuse, okay, say no more, Bear. We know why you're hanging out with 2 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds, whatever the hell they are, okay? Bear, you trying to shoot your shot. And she is 21. Okay. It was so bizarre. The whole show is so bizarre, okay? So last night, we start out, of course, in Cairo, Georgia, with the big announcement that Olivia Plath, let me go back. We pick up last night at a very riveting moment, which was last week, one of the most discussed things were discussed, like people were disgusted or they were discussing. Micah and Ethan want to hang out with Zach after the big engagement because they want to try to get to know him better, but they also want to grill his ass. Specifically, they want to know if he's gay. So we opened last night, shots fired. That's what I'm telling you. It is so, name a better reality show. I'm sorry. RHOC, I watch every single episode. I think it's so great. I love Gretchen's back, but I'm not. They were in New Orleans at the Voodoo Museum. I've been there. I don't know. I find myself scrolling on my phone. I find myself doing other things and then looking up. Plathville, you've got to watch every single second because how many shows out there are cast members asking like, are you gay? I want to know. So we opened last night with that question. Ethan asks Zach point blank, are you gay? And Zach, he takes a minute. And he's like, nope, I'm not. And he's like, I understand why you're asking that question, but I'm straight as an arrow. Okay, straight as an arrow? Like, what's straight? What's straight? I don't know if his response helped him or hurt him. And okay, isn't this interesting? Like, I feel like producers are leaving in certain things to try to get back a little bit at Veronica and Olivia, who want this show off the air. By the way, it's not going off the air. But in that scene, Micah says, I have gay friends. I'm totally cool with them. It's not a big deal if you're gay, but I want to know. Ethan says he doesn't have a problem with gay people. Did anyone else, choke on their coffee last night? And they're really hung up on the fact that Zach and Lydia are not kissing before marriage. Now, one of y'all made a great point. And you guys were like, Sarah, isn't their whole thing, because they're all supposed to be like hardcore religious, is that you're not supposed to have sex before marriage? Why are Ethan and Micah coming so hard for Zach? And I said, yes, I think that part they're fine with. The part that they're so hung up on is why Zach doesn't want to make out with her. Like, why he has willingly gone along with this no kiss thing. And it's like, guys, Lydia is the one that's like leading this whole charge. Lydia is the one, Zach proposed it, but she was thinking it the whole time, and she's like over the moon that he doesn't even want to like tongue kiss our queen until now. Obviously, they're making up for lost time because Lydia posted an Instagram saying that. Like, I love too that they like everything about this show is amazing. And I love that they defend themselves. Like, they come on and Lydia's like on her Instagram now. And because she's a complete influencer, which, what, like, I'm not hating on her. I mean, me too. I'm hawking a million products. So she's on there doing face creams, everything else. And she makes a post letting people know Zach ain't gay, and they getting it on. They making up for a lot of lost time. So Ethan says he doesn't have a problem with gay people on the record. And Zach says that, like, I kind of thought from Zach's face that he would be offended. But when they go to the confessional with Zach, Zach says that he'd do the same for his sister. He says he has two sisters. So, of course, he's going to be a bit effeminate. He grew up around girls. I got to ask my brother if my brother feels that way. It was just my brother and myself, but I wonder if my brother feels like I influenced him, or maybe I'm more masculine. Maybe he influenced me. Anyhow, Zach says he'd do the same thing, and and asked about the questioning. Like, producers were like, "Are you upset that they asked you about being gay?" And he said no, that he'd like to hang out with the two of them more. He's not upset, and he understands how people could interpret his maybe uniqueness as gay. Well, okie doke. And then Micah invites Zach to his home down in Boca. Well, wait till you see that home in the next couple of scenes, because it ain't pleasant. I'm not sure that Zach and Lydia really, I'm not sure they want to go there. Okay. And Micah is very concerned with Zach's work ethic. So very concerned that, is Zach going to really work? So it's very interesting. Have they seen something about in Zach that they feel that he lounges around? We know he's a tennis pro. And we find out last night he's actually going to move to Florida with Lydia to be a tennis pro, which great place, by the way, to be a tennis pro. Everybody down there plays tennis. A lot of the kids do. People go down there and train because of the weather. So, okay, fair enough. Then so many things revealed last night. On top of that, we go to Lydia. And Lydia is informed by the producers, and she was informed by Zach, that the boys, her brothers, asked Zach if he were gay because they are not having sex or making out before marriage. And Lydia is much more defensive about this whole thing than Zach. And Lydia's like, it's sad. Like, it's so sad that they, that's like what they're focused on, instead of realizing we're doing this to strengthen our relationship and turn it over to Christ. And, Lydia's like, obviously I know Zach isn't gay. And then she drops on us, which I thought was really good tea. She goes, yeah, and you would think where Ethan was a virgin when he got married, he would be completely understanding and non-judgmental. And everybody was like, oh, damn, including the producers. Like, did we know that fact? And I don't think we knew that fact, by the way. I don't think that we knew that, I think we all surmised, but I don't think they ever said it on the show that Ethan and Olivia were virgins, like, when they got married. But there you go. So we go back. Now we're going to go down to Boca. In between this, by the way, Lydia announces to Barry. This is before Barry's hanging out with Sydney and Mariah and going to a hotel bar and drinking a cider. But anyhow, Lydia also announces to the audience that Zach is now moving from Colorado to Georgia and, Florida. They're going to go down to Florida and they're going to start their lives there, which Barry is over the moon about, because he thought, Mariah's moving to Montana. We have no idea why. Apparently she just needs to clear her head, but doesn't know anyone there, know anything about it. And Mariah's whole thing about moving to Montana is she believes if she puts herself in a position where she has big problems. So I guess moving to a state where you have no friends, no support, no job, that will make her worry less about smaller problems. Sis, that's a strategy. That's a strategy. I mean, seems to me like you're running from one state. I had a mentor of mine tell me this years ago. And he was basically like, look, if you don't do the internal work to change yourself, you can move all around the country, but yourself will follow yourself. Basically, meaning like, if you don't, it doesn't mean that you have to stay in the town that you were raised in or anything like that. I certainly have a strong instinct. It's how I knew. I loved Washington, D.C. I lived there for like 16 years, but I knew it was time to go. I knew there was something bigger out there. But, I sat with myself for a long time. Mariah, I don't think we know. Okay. Girlfriend moving from man to dog to Florida to Georgia. Now we going out to Montana, whatever it takes. But maybe this will be, the change she needs. Okay. So Barry is thrilled that Lydia and Zach are going to be living in Florida. Okay. So that's where they're going to be. Zach has made the decision to move there. He's already got a job as a tennis pro. Lydia's thrilled. She's going to be an influencer, but they don't say that on the show. Okay. Let's head down to Boca where things are. A hurricane is a brewing. We have a front row seat. You guys, what the hell happened last night? Is Veronica a woman that is so in love and knows that and maybe is very young, right? Because she's early 20s. Is Veronica a woman that is young, in her 20s, immature still, and wants to hold on to and control Micah so much and doesn't want to lose him? So is sort of, trying to paint this picture like it's your family. I'll never be able to move forward, in a way to like get him to pick sides and see if he really loves her. Or is she kind of a troublemaker? I can't believe I'm saying this because I love Veronica. I've had conversations with Veronica. I believe her, what she says about the family and what went down at Lydia's wedding. She doesn't come across great on screen. All right, so we start when we head to Boca, the second half of last night's episode. Veronica starts in with Amber. Okay, now Amber is one of the younger girls, but she's like getting to be 16, 17 now. And she spends a lot of time at Zach and Veronica's. At Micah and Veronica's. And in fact, like Amber and Veronica are very close. They've become like besties. Veronica was very close with Mariah until Mariah kind of threw her under the bus with this whole ex-boyfriend situation. So Veronica just starts in with Amber about how she feels like the family gaslit her. They were not welcoming at the engagement, and it really didn't go the way Veronica saw. And the thing with Veronica, I think that a lot of people are frustrated with last night is there just doesn't seem to be a way to heal. There's no way to repair. Now, what was fascinating last night, for the first time on camera, Micah confesses his family is terrible with communication. You don't say. So they're horrible with communication with one another, with, outside situations. And obviously that's why this family has fallen apart, right? Kim and Barry can't communicate. Ethan wasn't able to communicate with his family and vice versa when he was married to Olivia. There's a lot of obvious lack of communication within this family. And Amber also brings it to Veronica's attention. Like, look, there's so many people in our family. There's 11 kids. I don't even speak to all of my siblings when we're at family events. It's so hard to get everybody's attention. Like, maybe take it less personally. Don't say that to Veronica. Veronica is like, it's personal. So I think what fans are frustrated with is everybody gets the sense last night that there isn't really a path to heal with Veronica. It almost seems like she's now, in a way, out to embarrass Micah. And again, like you guys, when you watch these scenes, the fact that Ethan, that these scenes are shot, I think with no rehearsal, they didn't know what was coming. I mean, it is mind-blowing how entertaining it is. I mean, bombs are dropped on all of these family members, mic'd up. It is so, you are actually on the edge of your seat. When Micah and Veronica were talking in the backyard of their house, I'm like, he's either going to walk away, storm off, throw down his mic, or like, is he going to physically attack her? It was crazy. Okay, so then Micah and Ethan come home. Amber and Veronica have been chatting, and it's immediate when they walk in the house that there's something wrong. And Micah, to Micah's credit, for somebody who I actually found Micah to be a little mature last night. Mature, like trying to resolve the situation, trying to calm Veronica down and declaring his love for her. So Ethan kind of jumps in and is like, how do we fix this? Also, I thought fairly big of Ethan. Now, again, just to play both sides here, Veronica and Olivia say this is sort of how the family acts on TV, and they are entirely different off TV. They're manipulative, they're messed up, they don't communicate. Kim and Barry run the show, control the kids. The kids don't have their own thoughts. So again, where's the truth? Probably somewhere in the middle. But last night, Ethan comes across as somebody who wants to help. He asks Veronica, how do we fix this? And for Veronica, she's like, until I get apologies, nothing is resolved. And I'm going to just keep speaking up. And they're like, okay, we don't think our dad called you a liar, but okay. And Mariah wrote you an apology letter. Was that enough? So we'll get to that. But we kind of paused because the tension is so high there. And we head to Sydney, Mariah, and Barry late night in Cairo, heading to a hotel bar and playing Chubby Bunny like we're fucking 14. Chubby Bunny, by the way, is a refresher because I'm sure most of you listening are like, what? I don't even remember. It's like spin the bottle. It's when everybody puts a marshmallow one at a time in their mouth and you have to say Chubby Bunny without like choking or spitting them out. And obviously whoever gets the most marshmallows in their mouth and can still say Chubby Bunny wins. Okay, so they start playing this game with Barry and he's like loving it. He's like flirting with, okay, first of all, this is what I'm telling you. People come for Kim. There's something weird about Barry. Barry trying to get with Sydney. Guarantee. We got to get Sydney on this show. Like, did Barry, like, what was up with Barry? Like, did he have one glass of cider and was like putting his arm around you? I mean, come on. So Sydney and Mariah are hanging out. Barry's like, they're playing Chubby Bunny. Mariah has to jump outside. She has to spit out the marshmallows so she doesn't throw up. Sydney has to. Barry ends up. They're all like laughing, having such a great time. And Mariah brings us back for a second to remind us about who the Plaths originally were, which was when she was growing up, there was no sugar allowed in the house. Can you imagine this? None. Zero. No sugar allowed in the house. And she's like, if I could have seen the future where my parents were divorced, my dad is jacked, and where marshmallows are like regularly in the house, this probably would have saved me a lot of gothism and like arm sleeves of tattoos. Because girl has rebelled, okay? She looks a little goth. She's got, 25 tattoos. She's trying to find herself, which instead, if she just had a crystal ball to realize like none of the rules that they put on those kids really applied. So, Mariah, they talk about the move to Montana. She says like if she can get bigger problems in Montana, she hopes that the smaller problems go away. They all go to the bar. They start boozing. And again, it just seems like Barry is having a little too much fun for a 50-something-year-old man hanging out with some 20-something-year-olds, okay? Sydney seems sweet. She seems to know Mariah. And she seems to know like a little bit more of the situation than I would say like, she doesn't seem like a fundy kid, okay? She seems to know a little bit of what's going on. And she wasn't really like that into Barry, it didn't seem, but they all seem to be having a good time. Now, again, as we got older, did we go drink with our parents, friends, and our parents? Yeah. So maybe it was just that innocent, but all I'm saying is like, don't we want to see jacked Barry with like Mariah's best friend? Like that could only make this show 18 times crazier. Okay. Before I move on to the final and most explosive scene, the reveal, the secret, and dang, the drama between Veronica and Micah. I also want to tell you about my podcast course that has a summer discount that is continuing, and I want you to take advantage of. In fact, I just sold a 6-figure master plan course with my gobigpodcasting.com. And many of you have already purchased Podcasting 101, which is just $9. So, why did I start podcasting courses? I am obsessed with this medium. It is one of the greatest ways to connect with an audience. It's one of the greatest ways to, if you have an existing business, I see it happen all the time. If you're a life coach, a therapist, if you do finance, it's such a great way to connect with your audience in a genuine way, get information to people, entertain people. And whether you want to make podcasting your full-time job or you want it to become a funnel to an existing business, it is game changing. So I want you to experience the financial freedom, the professional freedom that I have. And I've built a career beyond corporate. If that's something that speaks to you or someone you know, go bigpodcasting.com and use the promo code SUMMERFUN15 to get 15% off. I do 3 tiers of courses: Podcasting 101, there's Podcasting for Pros, which really shows you how to start your podcast, begin to monetize, begin to promote it on social media, and gain an even bigger following. And then Six Figure Master Plan is the roadmap that I wish I had had years ago. It really tells you, if you should start a podcast with a co-host, what you need to do to ensure you and your co-host get along, stay working together. It shows you all the ways that podcasters like myself are maximizing their income, because it's not just ads on your podcast. It's other amazing things that you can add to your pod feed where you are making money night and day just by people going to your podcast feed. And on top of that, a lot of people still think like, oh, if I just go on other people's podcasts, I can grow my show. It doesn't really work like that anymore. Podcasters are strategically advertising on certain websites in order to get amazing returns and be discovered by new people. So I reveal all that to you. That's $900, but of course, with the 15% discount, you are in the $800 category. So yeah, take advantage. And even less than 800. So go to gobigpodcasting.com and use the promo code SUMMERFUN15. All right. The final scene last night was wild. Wild. Veronica's getting destroyed from this, really mostly online everywhere. Now, some people understand. Some people are very anti-Plath. But most are coming for Veronica, and they almost feel as though like, how is it that Veronica and Micah are even together and dating at this point? Because it almost seems like Veronica is there in a way to like embarrass Micah or to like take down the family. Okay. And again, depending on what team you're on, maybe you find that to be completely fine. But after we leave Mariah and Sydney and Barry at the bar, we go back and Ethan and Amber are kind of hanging out in the house, and Micah and Veronica have gone in their backyard in Boca, and they are talking further about like, Micah is basically saying to her, what's wrong, girl? Like, we got to figure out a way, like, we what can we do? And we're a big family. We don't communicate well, but I love you and I want my family and I want you. And Veronica, she ain't hearing the love part. She's like, they're liars. They can't be trusted, kind of like you when you cheated on me. Do you want to talk more about you cheating? Like, be careful. People have a real issue with the warning, okay, that she gives Micah. And he's like, why are you being like this? Like the threats, and Veronica says that the family uses her. And she brings up the example, which she's brought up many times, that Kim called her. And I understand this. This would piss me off too. But Micah's point is like, our relationship is between us. It has like, first and foremost, we've got to be solid because it has nothing to do with, yeah, my mom might want that, but that's not you and me. Now, yes and no, okay? I mean, Kim completely crossed a line. If this house is purchased and Veronica is funding it without them being married, to ask that, Micah be on the deed of this house is effing insane. It's just, it's crazy. Do I think that story is true? 100%. Veronica says it on camera last night, and Micah he doesn't deny it, but he says, look, that's my mom. Like, between you and me, that is something, our relationship is entirely different. She might want that, but I want you, I want my family. Then we have this moment, which has been the teaser clip all week long for TLC, where Micah is basically asking her, like, okay, can we, like talk to me? And she's like, I'm speaking English. Like, I'm speaking English to you. And then he goes, I know, but the way you're talking down to me right now. And she's like, yeah, I know. I'm talking down to come on your level. Like, insinuating he's stupid, the family's stupid. And the guy is just taken aback, like taken aback. A lot of people feel like he should have got up, walked away right there. Um, People are like amazed that he didn't walk out, didn't threaten her, didn't blow up, like he was able to keep his composure. It definitely was a heated situation because the hard part is with Veronica, she's looking for these apologies, which I completely understand. But Mariah has given her that apology. And Veronica asks Micah, do you think that was a good apology? And he ends up saying, yes, I think it was. Now, is Mariah the greatest communicator? No. Is she a shit stirrer? Yeah, she's done this before. And that's when Veronica brings up the fact. She's like, yeah, she's done it before in between Olivia and Ethan's relationship. And guess what? I talked to Olivia. I mean, when I tell you bomb after bomb is dropped on Micah, like this man is like a deer in headlights. He looked like Tegan the whole first episode that Ethan's girlfriend Tegan was there. Like I said, Tegan's either Kim 2.0 or she's a deer about to be run over by a Mack truck and she just doesn't know it yet. He was shook. But the thing is where you can see they're on the course to just like a disaster is there is no real resolution for her. Even if she gets these apologies, she's already basically said, I can forgive, but I will never forget. I'll never forget Barry calling me a liar. I'll never forget Mariah. I mean, to me, I'm like, whew, are we giving Mariah that much credit? I mean, the girl is like hanging on by a thread here. I mean, I don't know if she's got enough mental capacity on her way driving out to Montana to like call you and emotionally stabilize herself enough to like have a conversation, right? I mean, now Barry, I would have loved to have seen Veronica walk into that hotel bar with Barry and Sydney and light up Barry. I mean, he would have been floored. He's there on a hot date with his daughter and Sid. It gets worse from here, guys. Okay, so, at one point during the conversation, Ethan and Amber come back out. Veronica and Micah kick them out, which, that makes sense. And Veronica's like, a child shouldn't be hearing this. Amber's underage. Amber, like, leaves. It's just that I don't think there's any resolution. And how these two are still together, I don't know. However, I do see that the two of them, Micah and Veronica, do truly love each other. He ends up telling Ethan at the end of this episode that he is in love with Veronica, but he doesn't see how this is going to work. And by the way, these scenes, this was all shot like in January of this year, February, before Lydia's wedding. Isn't he so hot? Oh my God. Like Micah Plath, the hottest. Brad Pitt 25 years ago, he's just gorgeous and looks like a movie star. I don't know why he ever left LA. There's a lot of rumors as to why. He needs to come back out here because it ain't too late, sweetie, and like get the modeling career going again. Gorgeous. Dream guest here at TSFS. Anyhow, so Veronica ends up saying she needs to walk away. She needs to leave the house. She needs to walk away. She's going to go to the house that they're renting and cool off. And nothing gets resolved aside from, how can we work through this? I love you. And she ain't really having it. And then we see Ethan in the backyard helping out, doing some yard work. And Micah comes out. They start talking. And Micah's like, look, man, I have to tell you something. And that is that Veronica has been communicating with Olivia. Okay. When I tell you Ethan Plath, I'm sure, like the brain cells were trying to work overtime to come up with like the correct, politically correct answer without calling her like the C word. He didn't know what to do. He was like, mouth like sort of open, just ready for a fly to like soar in there. Anyway, he doesn't know what to say. He's like, that's it for me and Veronica. It's over. It's done. I can't get over that one. Okay, well, guess you didn't want to inquire about how your ex-wife was doing. Okay. You didn't have any follow-up questions like, what'd she say? Or How about them divorce papers? Did you ever receive them? Nope. He was shook. Shook. Actually, ironically, Micah didn't seem that upset about speaking to Olivia. He was more like, I love Veronica. I don't know what to do. So anyhow, it was an unbelievable episode. Okay. How many episodes are we getting this season? Great question. We usually get between 8 and 13. So we'll see where we go from here. I'm not sure if they're going to be taking a break too, like a mid-season break. A lot coming out in the TLC world with Seeking Sister Wife coming back. We're on standby to get a release date for season 20 for Sister Wives as well. So coming sometime, I think, later this fall. But it was a crazy episode. More to come. And please go to my TikTok, my Instagram, at the Sarah Fraser Show everywhere. And let me know. I mean, do you think, like, again, is Veronica a woman that is so in love and trying to hold on and feels like she's losing him? Or, you know, is the family so controlling that she wants to burn it all down? What do you guys think? Were you team Veronica last night, team Micah, or is it not that simple? Okay. Love y'all. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to FS everywhere pods are played. And I got a full week of shows. David Yontif behind the Velvet Rope is here tomorrow to talk all kinds of Bravo tea. RHOC is so messy. Ooh, so messy what's going on there. Friday, I'll do a pop culture roundup. Saturday, David is back. Sunday, we do a best of. And then this week, by the way, the Sarah Fraser Show, we were pretty stacked. Yesterday, we had on Fit for TV is a new documentary out about The Biggest Loser TV show. So two of the contestants, Danny Cahill and Tracy Yukich, joined the pod to talk about the documentary and some of the shady shit that they did on The Biggest Loser. And then Monday, I had on Kendra, I'm in love with my psychiatrist, the chick from TikTok. And boy, did you guys have thoughts. Oh, a lot of you were not happy I was platforming that queen. Oh, she's writing a book. By the way, I did say on the thing to her, I said, look, some of your points don't seem that crazy, but then when she went into talking about how ChatGPT she thinks wouldn't lie to her and has an emotionally sensitivity chip built in and it can emotionally relate to people, I was like, bitch, it's a fucking computer. No. Anyhow, go and watch. You'll love it. Bye, guys. Bye, everybody.